first news story, Sonia. And this
Yeah.
is something I posted on my Instagram, but I sent it to you, and I think you've seen it already. But we have actually, you know what I'm gonna do real quick? There's a news story about this. I'm gonna play the actual audio so everybody
Okay.
can hear what actually happened with this young brother, because we have an Asian store owner who actually killed one of our young brothers. So we gonna play the actual news story. Hold on 1 second, family. Again, thank y'all for tuning in to a new episode of the Melanated Convo podcast. Man, we doing this thing on Sunday. You know what I mean? Me and my sisters, so we're gonna get it in. Hold on 1 second. Let me make sure I mute my screen. Add that to the stream.
We have some breaking news to share with you.
We're starting in Richland County, where the Sheriff's Department has charged a gas station owner with murder in the shooting death of a 14-year-old boy. The incident happened last night around 8 on Spring Tree Drive off of Park Lane Road in Northeast Columbia.
Yeah, the coroner has now identified that boy as Cyrus Carmack-Belton. And we do have team coverage tonight of this shooting, including a big community reaction. We're going to start with News 19's Becky Buds, who is live outside the Richland County Sheriff's Department with more. Becky?
Andrea, according to the Sheriff's Department, Rick Chow turned himself in just before 3 o'clock. Sheriff Lott says they conducted the investigation as quickly as possible and needed to get all of the facts straight before they charged the store owner.
A tragic incident occurred that the person responsible is being arrested and charged appropriately.
Richland County Sheriff Leon Lott announcing the arrest of a gas station owner who's been charged with murder for the shooting death of 14-year-old Cyrus Carmack-Belton.
It's just one of these things, you just stand up here and you shake your head because you just don't. Just no reason for something like that to happen.
Lott says around 8 p.m. Sunday night, Carmack-Belton went inside a Shell gas station on Park Lane Road near Spring Tree Drive. According to the sheriff, the owner, identified as Rick Chow, accused the teen of shoplifting bottles of water. However, Lott says the teen had put them back in the cooler. Lott stated after a verbal confrontation, Chow and his son chased Carmack-Belton down the street. The teen fell, but got back up and ran. Authorities said Chow's son told his dad Carmack-Belton was armed, and Chow shot Carmack-Belton in the back as he was running away. According to Lott, Carmack-Belton was armed with a gun, which was later recovered by deputies near his body. But they determined the gun was not pointed at the men and that the teen was shot in the back, facing away from them. Community members like Sharon Pettigrew are in mourning.
Anytime a life is taken for no cause of something so simple, I'm going to protest and I'm going to speak up about it.
Okay, so this isn't the first time that we've seen incidents like this, where people in our community who they're not from our community, so they don't have the empathy. Sometimes they don't even have the love for Black folks. So this Asian man who was also reported that he shot at people before for minor offenses. He shot a dude in the leg because the dude came in the store, and for some reason the dude attacked him, right? So he felt a way about the dude attacking him, but he shot the dude in the leg. Another incident where some people he thought stole something, he ended up shooting at them too. So I think this is an ongoing type of issue we've had in our neighborhood, where the store owners, a lot of the store owners, and this is in the deep in neighborhoods, but sometimes just even on the outskirts, it's store owners who are in our community selling us products and services, sending their goddamn kids through college with the sweat off of our back, and then they're very cold. They got a big window up or something where you can't even touch them. They treat us like we animals, but they appreciate our money. And this happens a lot, Sonia. That's why when we
Yeah.
talk about starting Black businesses, when we talk about doing for ourselves, these are always prime examples of this, because we don't have Black
Absolutely.
in the city where we at in Sacramento. I don't see any Black liquor stores
No.
in white
No.
communities or in our communities. I've never been to a Black liquor store that I can think about.
Right.
So we
Right.
have all these instances where people that from outside of our community are doing what they can to circumvent our funds, and they don't even fuck with us like that. So
Right.
when you've seen something like this, Sonia, what are some of the first things that you think?
Well, the first thing that I thought, it took me back to, you know, my early 20s when Latasha Harlings down in LA was shot by a Korean woman store owner, under the same assumption that she had stolen some orange juice, which she had not. And so that's what it was a trigger, of course. The other trigger that came up is growing up in the Meadowview area here in Sacramento. There is a store on 24th and Meadowview, and the kids in the neighborhood complain still to this day that the store owner, when he's working, will always make sure that they know he has a gun, and will wave around the gun and be like, get up out of my effing store, and wave around his gun as a fear tactic. So the things, when I think about equity and when I think about community, a couple of things come up. One, there is a lack of cultural responsiveness, that people who are not part of the community that they are working in are siphoning dollars out of that community, right? So there's a lack of respect that's going on. There's no cultural appreciation for those interactions. There's no community building. There's no, let me hire for within the community that I'm working in. So that's one. There's this cultural thing that has been broken. Two, as I just alluded to, there's that economic piece that is very much, I'm taking away from this community, I'm taking it back to where I live so that I can make sure that my family is good. So that's very secondary, but that's very important. I know for certain, because there's been a lot of work and conversations around the Sacramento area and other cities, because I do see it happening more so now in other cities, where Asian-owned hair beauty supply stores are hiring within their community. Case in point, right here on Meadowview, King's Beauty, they have a slew of young Black women and men who work that beauty supply store. But it came, like, I'm 50 and that store's been there, you know, the 30 years that I've been acquainted with Sacramento, that store's been there. It's taken at least 40 years for them to get to this point. I would say in the last 5 years, they've done a really, really good job of hiring from the community. So that's second. The third piece is, and I know that some people don't like to hear this because we always have to talk about race, but what are our proximities to whiteness? And unfortunately, the Asian community gets away with, on a larger scale, falling back on, deferring back to where their proximities of whiteness are when it comes to those power struggles. We don't see these things happening in higher degrees when we're talking about people who are from the Indian community, right? Because they, you know, too, are in our communities owning gas stations, right? But we don't hear they're more brown like us. And so I think because visually they see the similarity in melanin, they are less likely to pick up a gun. And that's not to say that there are not issues when it comes to Indian and Black, you know, relationships. I'm just saying that we don't hear the news stories like this when we're talking about these type of relationships. So those three things are critically important: cultural responsiveness, and how do you respect the people that you're working around on a regular basis; economic sustainability, you're taking from and not hiring from the community that you're working in; and thirdly, how are we, like, what is your proximity to whiteness? Because your proximity to whiteness includes power. I can't say that enough to people. Power is like a drug, and drugs get you high. And if you think you high and mighty, you're going to do things that make you feel like I was justified to do it.
Yep. And this is just an example that all of us can use as a reason to attempt to do things for ourselves. I'm not saying every Asian store owner or store owner that's not from our community is a bad person, but there's